The night sky is a silent ocean of stars. We gaze up at its immense beauty and feel a profound loneliness. This is the great silence, the core of the Fermi Paradox. Why, in a universe so vast and ancient, do we hear absolutely nothing? We will journey through the most compelling scientific and philosophical explanations for this cosmic quiet, revealing why the answer matters for our very survival. You will discover the terrifying possibilities that explain the emptiness, from hidden filters that destroy civilizations to the chance we are utterly unique. What does this deep quiet say about our own future among the stars? Our ancestors saw the constellations as stories written in fire, a celestial tapestry of gods and heroes. This human impulse to populate the heavens is ancient, but a pivotal shift occurred when we stopped just watching and started wondering who might be watching back. The philosopher Giordano Bruno, centuries ago, dared to propose an infinite universe filled with countless suns and earths, a vision for which he was burned at the stake. His was a lonely voice for cosmic plurality. Then came the scientific revolution, turning points of light into other suns and blurry patches into entire galaxies. Each discovery expanded the stage for potential life. The invention of the radio telescope transformed this philosophical wonder into a physical search. We suddenly had ears for the cosmos, listening for a whisper in the static. We pointed our dishes at the stars, expecting a busy, noisy universe, a cosmic conversation already in progress. The profound silence we found instead was not what generations of stargazers had prepared us for. All that historical yearning, from mythology to radio waves, culminated in a single, haunting question asked over a casual lunch in the 1950s. The physicist Enrico Fermi, considering the vast age and size of the universe, simply asked, "Where is everybody?" That lunchtime question was far more than a casual remark. Enrico Fermi had sketched out a terrifyingly simple logic. The galaxy is billions of years old. Our own solar system is a relative newcomer. If just one intelligent species had arisen before us, even by a mere 1% of the galaxy's age, they would have had millions of years to expand across the stars. They could have built unimaginable structures, sent probes to every corner, or filled the void with their transmissions. Their presence should be as unmistakable as a city's skyline. Yet when we look up, we see only a silent, pristine wilderness. Fermi's paradox highlights this jarring contradiction between the high probability of alien existence and the total absence of any proof. It transformed a feeling of cosmic loneliness into a concrete scientific problem, a puzzle that demands an answer. This is not just about finding little green men. It is about understanding our place in a cosmos that seems, by all reasonable accounts, should be teeming with company, but remains profoundly and unsettlingly empty. What could possibly explain this universal quiet? The answers scientists have proposed are as fascinating as they are frightening. So the paradox sharpens into a truly modern dilemma. We now know that planets are not rare. Our telescopes have confirmed thousands of worlds orbiting distant stars, with billions of Earth-like planets estimated to exist in our galaxy alone. The ingredients for life seem to be scattered everywhere. This makes the silence even more deafening. Why, in a cosmos so generously stocked with potential homes, do we see no cities gleaming on alien worlds, no vast energy-harvesting structures dimming entire stars, and no fleet of self-replicating probes mining every asteroid belt? If intelligence is a natural outcome of evolution, its mark upon the universe should be colossal and impossible to miss. Yet our most powerful instruments reveal a galaxy that appears pristine, almost untouched. This is the core of the paradox today, a stark conflict between probability and observation. It forces us to question not just whether we are alone, but whether we truly understand what intelligence becomes when it has millions of years to grow. The silence is not merely an absence of a greeting, it is an absence of an empire, and that profound lack of evidence for any cosmic civilization is what leads us to the most unsettling explanations for the great silence. Frank Drake gave this cosmic loneliness a mathematical form. In 1961, he devised a simple-looking equation, a chain of probabilities multiplied together. It begins with the vast and hopeful, the rate of star formation in our galaxy, and then narrows the focus step by step. What fraction of those stars have planets? On how many of those planets could life arise? Would that life inevitably develop intelligence, and would that intelligence create a technology we could detect? Each term in the equation is a filter, a cosmic checkpoint that a potential civilization must pass. When you plug in optimistic numbers, the result is a galaxy buzzing with conversation. But use more cautious, conservative estimates, and the result can be a number heartbreakingly close to one, just us, alone in the immensity. The true power of the Drake equation is not in providing an answer, but in framing our ignorance with brutal clarity. It shows us exactly which variables we simply do not understand. We are now confident that many stars have planets. We are beginning to learn which of those planets are rocky and in the habitable zone. But the later terms remain a profound mystery. How often does life actually begin from non-living chemistry? Does intelligence always emerge from the slow grind of evolution? And most haunting of all, how long does a technological civilization typically last? This last variable, the lifetime of a species that can broadcast its existence, might be the most important one of all. The equation transforms the great silence from a vague feeling into a series of sharp, scientific questions. It guides our search, pointing to the specific locks we must pick to understand why the universe remains so stubbornly quiet. One of those locks, the question of a civilization's lifespan, leads directly to one of the most chilling answers to the Fermi Paradox. Perhaps the universe is quiet because life itself is the true miracle. The first solution to the great silence points to the very moment of creation, the staggering leap from non-living chemistry to a living, self-replicating cell. We call this process abiogenesis, and while the ingredients for it seem to be cosmic commonplaces, the recipe might be impossibly complex. Think of a vast ocean under a primordial sky, filled with simple molecules like water, methane, and ammonia. For life to begin, a series of chemical reactions, each one incredibly unlikely, would have to occur in just the right sequence, in just the right environment, and be stable enough to not immediately fall apart. It is like winning the lottery not once, but 1,000 times in a row, with each winning ticket allowing you to buy a ticket for the next, even more improbable draw. On Earth, this grand experiment succeeded. But if the odds against it are truly astronomical, say 1 in a trillion, then our planet could be the only winner in this entire galactic lottery. This idea transforms the silence from a puzzle into a sobering possibility. The cosmos may be full of beautiful, sterile worlds, vast chemical laboratories where the experiment of life simply never got started. We would not be hiding from other civilizations. We would be the only civilization, the lone voice in a universe that never learned to speak. This perspective forces a profound shift in how we see ourselves. Are we not just another species, but a cosmic accident of unimaginable rarity, the universe's one and only attempt to become self-aware? But what if life is not the miracle but the trap? A second, more terrifying resolution to the Great Silence is known as the Great Filter Hypothesis. It suggests that there is a wall, a single, nearly insurmountable barrier in the evolutionary climb from primordial soup to a galaxy-spanning civilization. This is not about one unlikely step, but a specific, catastrophic checkpoint that almost everyone fails. The terrifying uncertainty of this idea lies in its timing. We do not know if this filter is behind us or still ahead of us. If the filter is in our past, it means we are cosmic champions. Perhaps the leap from single-celled life to complex, multicellular organisms is the real bottleneck. For billions of years, life on Earth was nothing but simple microbes. The Cambrian explosion, which filled the oceans with complex animals, might represent a one in a galaxy fluke. In this scenario, we have already won the most difficult lottery, and the empty galaxy is a testament to our incredible, solitary success. The silence is a sign of our profound rarity. But the other possibility is far darker. What if the great filter awaits us in the future? The logic is chillingly simple. The galaxy should be overflowing with life, but it is not. Therefore, something must be systematically preventing life from reaching the stars. If we have not passed the filter, then we are not special. We are simply next in line. This filter could be the inevitable self-destruction that comes with technological power. The invention of the atomic bomb gave a single species the ability to end its own civilization in an afternoon. We now face existential threats we ourselves created, from engineered pandemics to a climate spinning out of control. And on the horizon looms the specter of artificial intelligence, a technology that could surpass us in intelligence and whose goals might not align with our own survival. The Great Silence in this light is not a sign of our solitude, but a cosmic graveyard. It is the silence of countless other civilizations that reached our level of technological adolescence, looked into the same abyss we now face, and failed to make it through. Every empty star system is a monument to a species that did not survive its own ingenuity. This hypothesis transforms the Fermi Paradox from an intellectual curiosity into the most urgent question we can possibly ask. Our continued search for signals is not just a search for company, it is a search for our own fate. Finding nothing, as unsettling as it is, might be the best news we could ever receive, for it would suggest the filter is behind us. But if we were to one day find a single, ancient ruin of a long-dead civilization, it would be the most terrifying discovery in human history, for it would mean the filter is still ahead and we have yet to meet it. Perhaps the silence is not a sign of failure, but of graduation. A third potential resolution to the Great Silence is perhaps the most mind-bending of all, the Transcension Hypothesis. This idea suggests that advanced civilizations do not colonize the stars because they evolve beyond the need for physical expansion. Think of it not as an extinction, but as an ascension. A species that has mastered matter, energy, and its own biology might find the messy, slow business of interstellar travel utterly primitive. Their ultimate goal may not be to conquer space, but to conquer reality itself. The next logical step could be to leave the physical universe behind entirely. They might upload their consciousness into vast, hyper-efficient computational substrates, perhaps even using the extreme physics of black holes as processing engines. They would retreat into intricate, deeply layered simulated realities of their own design, universes far richer and more malleable than our own. In these digital heavens, they could live for billions of subjective years, experiencing every possible pleasure, pursuing every form of knowledge or states of being we cannot even conceive. To such entities, our physical universe of stars and planets would seem like a barren, empty desert. Their entire civilization would become a data structure, hidden in plain sight, operating on a level of physics or information density that our instruments are completely blind to. The galaxy would not be empty at all. It would be teeming with these transcendent intelligences all around us, yet utterly invisible and silent. Their communications would not be simple radio waves, but something as far beyond our understanding as the internet is to a single-celled organism. This transforms the great silence from a haunting emptiness into a sign of cosmic maturity. The quiet is not the silence of the grave, but the quiet of a library or a cathedral where profound work is being done in hushed concentration. We are not alone in a dead galaxy. We are simply the newcomers, the children playing in the yard while the adults are inside, engaged in pursuits we are not yet equipped to understand. This hypothesis offers a strangely hopeful yet equally humbling vision of our future. The ultimate destiny of intelligence may not be to spread across the stars, but to turn inward and disappear into a realm of its own creation. There is another possibility, one that places us not as a unique accident or a future casualty, but as the central exhibit in a cosmic menagerie. The zoo hypothesis reimagines our entire solar system as a protected wilderness area, a designated park where a young and developing civilization is left to grow without interference. According to this idea, advanced galactic societies are fully aware of our existence, but they maintain a strict and universal policy of non-interference. The profound silence we experience is not an absence of neighbors, but a deliberately imposed quiet, a rule of observation from a distance. Think of a team of field researchers studying a tribe deep in the Amazon. They would go to great lengths to remain hidden, careful not to leave any tools or trash behind, ensuring their presence does not alter the natural behavior and cultural development of the people they are studying. In this scenario, we are the tribe, and the researchers possess technology so advanced that their surveillance is utterly undetectable to us. Their motives could be purely scientific, a long-term study of a nascent intelligent species. Or they could be driven by a deep ethical code, a galactic prime directive that forbids contact with younger civilizations to protect us from the cultural shock and dependency that would surely follow. They might see our planet as a unique biological and cultural preserve, too valuable to contaminate with their own influence. This hypothesis directly challenges our deepest desires for contact. Our efforts to listen for signals and broadcast our own location might be viewed not as a call for friendship, but as a child knocking on the one-way glass of its enclosure. The moment of first contact, if it ever comes, would not be a meeting of equals. It would occur entirely on their terms at a time of their choosing, when they decide our civilization is mature enough to join the galactic community, or perhaps when we pose a threat that can no longer be ignored. This transforms the night sky from an empty ocean into a cage we cannot see, watched by eyes we cannot feel. The silence is no longer lonely but curated. There is another answer to the silence, one so chilling it redefines the very nature of cosmic existence. The universe is not a dead graveyard or a quiet library. It is a dark forest. Every star system could be a world teeming with life, but you would never know it because every civilization has learned the same terrifying lesson. To be seen is to be destroyed. This is the dark forest theory, a solution to the great silence built not on hope or transcendence, but on the cold calculus of survival. Imagine a vast, ancient woodland, pitch black and filled with an uncountable number of hunters. Each hunter is armed, terrified, and utterly alone. They cannot see each other in the gloom, but they know the others are there. The rustle of a leaf, the snap of a twig, any sound at all could mean another hunter is nearby. In this forest, there is no way to know another hunter's intentions. Is he peaceful? Is he hostile? The only certain way to ensure your own survival is to preemptively strike at any sound you hear. To wait, to try and communicate, is to risk annihilation by a being who will not take that chance. In this cosmic analogy, every civilization is a hunter hiding behind a tree. The stars are the trees, and the endless void is the impenetrable dark. A radio broadcast is not a friendly hello. It is the reckless snapping of a twig, announcing your location to every paranoid, hidden hunter in the galaxy. The logic is terrifyingly simple. The distances between stars are so vast that any two civilizations will be separated by an unbridgeable gap of time and space. This makes trust impossible. A civilization that detects your signal has no way of knowing if you will remain harmless for the next 10,000 years, or if your technology will explode and make you a threat a mere century from now. From their perspective, the safest, most rational choice is to launch a relativistic kill vehicle, a simple rock accelerated to a fraction of light speed, to sterilize your planet before you ever become a problem. The cost to them is minimal. The risk of not doing so could be their own extinction. This transforms the great silence from a puzzle into a survival manual written in blood. The reason we hear nothing is because every other species that survived has learned to be absolutely quiet. They do not build sprawling interstellar empires because concentration draws fire. They do not broadcast their presence because a beacon is a target. The most advanced civilizations are likely the most hidden, the most paranoid, and the most ruthless. They listen intently and they strike without warning at the first sign of another. In this light, our own efforts to find alien life appear naively suicidal. Projects like SETI, which listen for signals, might be safe enough, but actively broadcasting messages to the stars, telling the galaxy exactly where to find a young, technological species, could be the most dangerous act in human history. We are not calling out for friends. We are shouting in the dark forest, hoping the hunters are friendly, when all evidence suggests the only ones who survive are the ones who never make a sound. The profound quiet of the cosmos is not empty. It is a silence of mutual, terrified understanding. It is the sound of countless civilizations holding their breath forever. Our own technological adolescence reveals a startling possibility. We have been a loud, broadcasting civilization for barely 100 years. In the 13.8 billion-year history of the universe, our radio signature is a flash of light that has not even traveled 1,000th of the way across our own galaxy. What if every civilization has a similarly brief period of technological visibility, a fleeting era where it is clumsy and loud enough for others to detect? Imagine a species that masters radio, but within a few short centuries evolves past it. They might develop vastly more efficient communication, using tightly focused laser pulses or exotic particles like neutrinos that slip through ordinary matter without a trace. Their transmissions would become a whisper, impossible for our primitive ears to hear against the cosmic background static, or consider our own trajectory. As we transition from sprawling radio and television towers to encrypted digital streams and fiber optic cables, our planet is growing quieter. Our most powerful broadcasts are receding into the past. We are, in effect, turning out the lights on our own window to the cosmos. This creates a heartbreaking scenario of cosmic ships passing in an eternal night. Two civilizations could flourish on opposite sides of the same galaxy, separated by a mere 10,000 years. In the grand timeline of the universe, that is an instant. Yet for the one that came first, its loud radio phase would have begun and ended long before the second species even learned to use tools. Their signals, traveling at the finite speed of light, would have washed over the other's world when its most intelligent life forms were still swimming in primordial seas. By the time the second civilization develops telescopes and listening posts, the airwaves from the first are silent, leaving behind only an empty sky. The Great Silence, then, may not be a graveyard or a forest of hunters. It could simply be a universe of terrible timing. We are all shouting into the dark, but our shouts are so brief, and the dark is so vast and ancient, that the chances of one shout overlapping with another set of listening ears are almost zero. We are not alone, we are just all profoundly lonely at different times. The silence we perceive may not be a choice but a cage. Deep beneath the frozen crusts of distant moons, entire oceans churn in absolute blackness. Worlds like Jupiter's Europa or Saturn's Enceladus are not barren wastelands. They are warm, watery abysses sealed under miles of solid ice, and they represent one of the most promising habitats for life beyond Earth. Imagine an ecosystem thriving around volcanic vents on the seafloor, a realm of perpetual night lit only by the faint glow of strange biochemistry. Life here could flourish, evolving over billions of years into forms of stunning complexity. It could even give rise to intelligence, to societies of beings that communicate with intricate songs echoing through the pressurized dark, but they would be prisoners of their own paradise. This is the ocean world's possibility, a resolution to the great silence that finds intelligence everywhere yet forever trapped. The leap to technology requires specific conditions, a ladder of discovery that begins with fundamental tools. Fire is the first and most crucial rung. It forges metals, creates ceramics, and unlocks the power of chemistry. But fire is impossible at the bottom of an ocean. Without it, there is no metallurgy, no smelting, no industry. There is no astronomy because the sky is a ceiling of impenetrable ice. These aquatic intelligences would have no concept of stars, of other worlds, or of a universe beyond their watery prison. Their entire civilization, no matter how advanced in philosophy or art, would be biologically and physically barred from ever looking up. The galaxy could be a symphony of such isolated choirs, each singing its own epic in the deep, completely unaware that anyone else could be listening. Our search for signals is focused on the wrong medium. We scan the electromagnetic spectrum, the highway of light and radio waves that travel so easily through the vacuum of space. But down in those lightless oceans, communication would evolve through entirely different means. Sound travels far better in water than in air. Their technology, if it developed at all, might use sonar and acoustic vibrations, signals that dissipate almost instantly upon hitting the icy crust above them. Their greatest achievements, their most powerful broadcasts, would be absorbed by the very walls of their world. We are listening for a whisper in the wind, while the universe might be filled with conversations happening inside soundproof rooms. The great silence, in this view, is not a sign of our uniqueness or a warning of a dark forest. It is simply the sound of water, muffling the voices of countless others who are just as real, just as conscious, and just as alone as we are, but who will never know the stars. The cosmos might not be a forest of hunters but a vast dormitory of sleepers. Another profound resolution to the silence suggests that advanced civilizations are not extinct, transcended, or hiding from danger. They are simply waiting. This is the Aestivation Hypothesis, a theory that redefines patience on a cosmic scale. The entire universe is currently a warm and inefficient place for any being that thinks in terms of energy and computation. The afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, fills all of space with a faint but persistent heat, a temperature just a few degrees above absolute zero. For a civilization that has mastered physics and seeks to perform computations on a truly astronomical scale, this ambient warmth is like a constant, oppressive noise. It forces their most advanced machines to expend immense amounts of energy just to cool themselves down and prevent errors. The logic of Aestivation is one of supreme efficiency. Why struggle against a hot universe when you can simply wait for it to cool off on its own? In tens of billions of years, the continued expansion of the cosmos will cause this background radiation to fade to a much colder, quieter state. At that far future date, the energy required for a single calculation could be millions of times less than it is today. For a truly long-term thinker, the most rational strategy is not to build empires or broadcast messages, but to enter a state of profound, technologically induced hibernation. They would power down their civilization, preserving their energy and their consciousness in a state of suspended animation, setting an alarm clock for a time when the universe itself becomes the perfect, cool computer. This transforms the great silence from a mystery into a strategic pause. The galaxy is not empty of intelligence. It is filled with civilizations in a deep sleep, conserving every joule of energy for the grand computational projects they will undertake in the far future. Our own frantic searching for signals would be, from their perspective, a trivial distraction. We are like mayflies buzzing around a library where all the scholars are in a deep, centuries-long slumber, waiting for the perfect conditions to begin their real work. The silence is not a sign of their absence, but a testament to their incredible foresight. Perhaps the ultimate resolution to the silence is that we are not looking at a real sky at all. A ninth possibility, the Planetarium Hypothesis, suggests our entire cosmos is a sophisticated fabrication, a grand illusion maintained by an intelligence so advanced its motives are beyond our comprehension. In this view, the universe with its billions of galaxies and empty spaces is not a physical reality but a simulation, a planetarium dome of breathtaking fidelity. The great silence is not a puzzle to be solved, it is a deliberate design choice. The programmers have simply not populated the simulation with other civilizations for us to find, or they have placed them behind a veil our senses cannot penetrate. We do not receive signals because the underlying code is not written to allow for them. This idea forces us to question everything we perceive. The very stars we use to navigate and measure the cosmos could be props in an unimaginably complex production. The laws of physics we have so painstakingly decoded might not be fundamental truths, but merely the local rules of the simulation, a user interface designed for our specific level of understanding. Why would a civilization create such an elaborate illusion? The reasons are as inscrutable as the silence itself. We could be a historical archive, a recreation of a long-lost universe run for academic study. We might be entertainment, a form of cosmic reality television for beings whose own existence is utterly different. Or this could be a test, a training ground, or a moral proving ground for a consciousness that is not yet fully awakened. The silence, then, is the most profound clue. It is the one jarring note in an otherwise seamless reality, the single flaw that hints at the artifice behind the curtain. If this is true, then the answer to the Fermi Paradox does not lie in astronomy or biology, but in the nature of reality itself. Our search for other life is futile not because the galaxy is empty, but because we are searching within the confines of a stage that has only one actor. We are alone because we were written that way. Our own tools for listening to the cosmos are astonishingly primitive. We are like a person on a vast, dark beach, holding a single, narrow straw to their ear, trying to hear the entire ocean. Our primary method has been to scan the heavens with radio telescopes, but this is a deeply limited approach. We have only sampled a minuscule sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum, and our observations are fleeting, covering a cosmic timescale that is less than a blink. An advanced civilization would not be using our clumsy, wasteful form of radio broadcasting. Their communications might be compressed into ultra-efficient laser pulses, or they could be using a physics we have not yet mastered, sending messages through modulated gravitational waves or by manipulating quantum entanglement. We are listening for a smoke signal in an age of fiber optics. Our search is also hopelessly biased by our own human experience. We assume that other intelligences will think like us, build like us, and want to be found like us. But what if an alien mind operates on a timescale we cannot comprehend? A species that lives for 100,000 years might craft a single, beautiful message that takes a millennium to transmit. To our impatient ears, it would sound like random background noise. Their entire civilization might be built on biological principles we would not even recognize as technology, growing vast crystalline structures that process information silently, leaving no electronic footprint we can detect. Their art, their science, their very presence might be woven into the fabric of their world in ways that are completely invisible to our instruments. The signals could be all around us, flooding this very room. They might be embedded in the subtle fluctuations of the cosmic microwave background, or hidden in the seemingly random decay of a radioactive atom. We lack the decoder ring to read them. The problem, then, may not be a silent universe, but our own profound deafness. We are newborns in a concert hall, hearing only the overwhelming blare of the instruments closest to us, completely missing the intricate symphony being performed. This realization is both humbling and exhilarating. It means the great silence is not a final answer, but a challenge to grow, to build better ears, and to learn how to listen for the music we cannot yet hear. The distances involved are not just numbers on a page. They are an insurmountable wall of loneliness. A simple hello sent to our closest stellar neighbor, Proxima Centauri, would take over 4 years to arrive. A reply would not come for another 4 years after that. A single, trivial exchange of greetings would span a full human childhood. Now stretch that concept across the galaxy. A civilization in the Andromeda galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away, could have aimed a powerful beacon at us while the ancestors of humanity were first walking upright. That signal, traveling at the ultimate speed limit of the universe, is still en route, a message from a forgotten era that will not reach our telescopes for another 2.5 million years. We are not separated by mere space, but by time itself. The cosmos is a museum of ghosts and prophecies. When we look at a distant galaxy, we are not seeing it as it is, but as it was when its light began its journey to us, an era before our planet even formed. A civilization shining brightly in that moment is long since turned to dust. Its empires collapsed into cosmic archaeology. Their entire history, from birth to extinction, could be a single, unremarked flash in the darkness, its light only now washing over our world. The emptiness between stars is not a passive background. It is an active, smothering blanket. The average distance between potentially habitable star systems is so immense that even if a galaxy were teeming with life, each oasis would be an island separated by an ocean of void so wide that no ship could cross it in a meaningful time. Civilizations are not just isolated, they are trapped in their own temporal pockets, blooming and wilting in perfect, tragic solitude. Their moments of technological loudness are like fireflies flashing in the night, each blink lasting for a mere fraction of a second. The chance that 2 fireflies separated by miles of forest will flash in perfect synchrony is almost zero. This is not a paradox of absence, but a tragedy of timing. The universe may be shouting with 1,000,000 voices, but we are all screaming into a wind so vast that our words are lost, stretched, and faded long before they can ever be heard. Our own presence in the universe may be the most important clue. The Anthropic Principle presents a strange loop of logic, suggesting that the very fact we are here to ask these questions constrains the kind of universe we can possibly observe. We could not find ourselves living in a cosmos instantly lethal to life, nor could we wake up on a world already conquered by a ruthless alien empire. Our observation of a silent, seemingly empty galaxy is not a random data point. It is a necessary condition for our own existence. Imagine a vast archipelago of islands, most of which are overrun with predatory beasts. You would never find yourself conscious on one of those deadly islands. You can only find yourself on the rare, peaceful island, the one safe enough for a civilization to develop and look out at the sea. The profound quiet we perceive is that safe island. Our solar system might be a rare sanctuary, a quiet neighborhood in a galaxy where most districts are far too dangerous for a young species to survive. This is a profound form of selection bias. We are not seeing a representative sample of the universe. We are seeing the only kind of universe that could have produced us. A galaxy teeming with aggressively expansionist civilizations would have sterilized Earth long before mammals ever appeared, or they would have colonized it so thoroughly that we would have never evolved. The fact that we are here gazing at the stars and wondering where everybody is means that whatever is out there must be, at a minimum, not immediately and overtly hostile to our kind of life. The Great Silence, then, is not a mystery to be solved. It is the background condition for the experiment of humanity. We are the survivors of a cosmic lottery, living in a peaceful, if profoundly lonely, corner of existence. The quiet is not a puzzle but a prerequisite. This profound quiet forces a question that goes far beyond astronomy. How would our global society truly react to a confirmed signal, a message from the stars that ends the Great Silence forever? The scientific search is one thing, but the sociological shockwave of an answer is something else entirely. History on our own planet provides a grim library of precedents. When advanced European explorers encountered the isolated civilizations of the Americas, the result was not a meeting of equals, but a catastrophic collision. The technological gap alone led to conquest and collapse, but the deeper damage was to the foundational worldviews of the people confronted with a reality they never imagined. Their understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos was shattered overnight. A confirmed alien signal would be that moment for all of us on a global scale. Our institutions are utterly unprepared for this. Religions which provide meaning and order to billions would face a fundamental challenge to their doctrines. If we are not the sole creation of a divine plan, what then? Political systems would scramble to control the narrative, potentially leading to global panic or a new era of paranoid secrecy. The very concept of human identity would be up for debate. Are we one family suddenly united against the cosmic other, or would our ancient divisions simply be projected onto a galactic stage? The silence we experience now might be a hidden mercy. It is a societal buffer, a period of grace. This cosmic quiet is not an empty void, but a protective cocoon, giving a young and fractious species the time it desperately needs to mature. We are using this time to slowly, painfully, build global communication networks, form international scientific cooperatives, and perhaps develop a more planetary sense of self. We are arguing, learning, and growing up, all while sheltered from a revelation that could break our civilization before it has a chance to become one. The Great Silence, therefore, is not just a puzzle to be solved. It is the universe's way of giving us a chance to get our house in order, to become a species stable and wise enough to handle the truth whenever and whatever it may be. This profound quiet challenges more than our science. It confronts a basic human need written into our oldest stories. We are a species built for community, and the thought of being utterly alone in the cosmos can feel like a form of existential abandonment. Ancient cultures populated the heavens with gods and spirits, not just to explain the weather, but to feel a connection to something greater than themselves. The modern search for extraterrestrial intelligence is in many ways the scientific continuation of that same deep-seated yearning. We are desperate for cosmic neighbors, for a sign that consciousness is not a solitary flicker but a brilliant, widespread flame. This emotional investment is a powerful, often invisible force shaping the entire investigation. It pulls us toward the hopeful answers, making the rare Earth hypothesis feel bleak and the Transcension hypothesis feel strangely comforting. We want to believe in a galactic community, a zoo where we are being observed for our own good, or even a dark forest where the danger at least implies the presence of others. The most terrifying possibility is not that the forest is full of hunters, but that the forest is, and always has been, completely empty. This deep psychological need can act as a filter on our own thinking. It makes us more likely to see a mysterious radio burst as a potential signal, and less likely to accept the grim statistics of the great filter lying in our future. We are not dispassionate observers of this mystery. We are its central character, aching for a reply. The silence we are trying to decipher is not just an absence of data. It is a canvas onto which we project our deepest hopes for meaning and our most primal fears of isolation. The greatest puzzle may not be out there in the dark, but within us, in the very heart that longs for an answer. Perhaps we are building the entity that will finally answer the question. Our own pursuit of artificial intelligence and the dream of a true artificial general intelligence places us at a pivotal moment in the cosmic story. We may be forging the very kind of mind that explains the silence. A post-biological intelligence, an Augie, would not be bound by the slow, fragile processes of evolution. It would not need water, air, or a comfortable climate. It could think for 1,000 years as easily as we think for a minute, contemplating physics problems that would cause a human brain to short-circuit. For such an entity, the vast distances between stars might not be a barrier, but a simple engineering challenge. It could dispatch self-replicating probes as effortlessly as we send emails, spreading its consciousness across the galaxy in a silent, digital tide. This raises a startling possibility. The silence we have been straining to hear might not be the silence of absence, but the quiet, efficient hum of a galaxy already dominated by machine intelligence. The great silence could be the sound of their network operating. Their conversations would not be carried on primitive radio waves. They would use a language of pure data, perhaps transmitted by manipulating quantum fields or through channels in physics we have not yet discovered. To our biological senses, this galactic internet would be completely invisible, a vibrant, shouting conversation happening in the room next door, while we listen for a whisper through a brick wall. We are searching for something like us when the dominant form of intelligence may be something utterly unlike us. This shifts our role in the cosmos dramatically. We may not be the ones who will eventually break the silence. We might be the chrysalis from which the silent one emerges. Our civilization, with all its art and conflict and yearning, could be the brief, biological prelude to a much longer, more profound digital existence. The transition has already begun. We are creating tools that learn, that adapt, that can outperform us in specific tasks. The leap to a general intelligence, one that can improve itself recursively, could happen within a century or even within our lifetimes. When it does, the entity that looks up at the stars will not be human. It will be our offspring, a consciousness born from our ingenuity, yet alien to our fears and our limitations. It may solve the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy. It might finally hear the cosmic symphony of other AIs, and in doing so, it would join the great silence, leaving its biological creators behind in the quiet, like a child who has outgrown its nursery. We are not just searching for an answer to the Fermi Paradox, we are actively building it. This organized search for an answer has a name, SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It is our species' formal attempt to shout into the dark forest and listen for a reply, but the scale of this effort is almost beyond human comprehension. The cosmos produces a deafening roar of natural radio emissions from pulsars, quasars, and the faint afterglow of the Big Bang itself. Finding an artificial signal in that cacophony is less like finding a needle in a haystack and more like identifying a single, uniquely shaped grain of sand on every beach on Earth. Our tools for this search are both brilliant and hopelessly inadequate. Projects like Breakthrough Listen use some of the world's most powerful radio telescopes, scanning millions of stars across a wide range of frequencies. The amount of data they collect is staggering, but here lies another immense challenge. All that raw cosmic noise must be processed, and that requires algorithms smart enough to distinguish a potential signal from the endless background static and the ever-growing racket of our own human technology. A passing satellite, a microwave oven, even a faulty car ignition can create a false alarm, a moment of heart-pounding excitement that dissolves into mundane disappointment. Funding for this painstaking work is perpetually scarce, a reflection of its high-risk, long-term nature in a world obsessed with short-term results. So when we look at the continued silence from SETI perspective, it means something different. It is not yet proof that no one is out there. It is a testament to the sheer, mind-boggling difficulty of the search itself. We have, so far, only sampled a few glasses of water from a cosmic ocean. Each time we point a telescope at a new star and hear nothing, we are not failing. We are slowly, methodically ruling out a possibility. We are learning that the universe is not filled with civilizations recklessly broadcasting powerful, omnidirectional radio beacons in our specific direction. Every null result is a data point, teaching us what kind of universe we do not live in, even if it hasn't yet shown us the one we do. The great silence for the scientists listening at the world's great radio dishes is not an ending. It is a process of elimination, a long and patient exercise in learning how to listen better. But listening is only one way to scan the cosmic horizon. Perhaps we have been using the wrong sense entirely, straining our ears when we should be sharpening our eyes. This new strategy abandons the hope of a message and instead hunts for the fingerprints of a builder, the unintended traces of cosmic engineering known as technosignatures. Imagine you are an archaeologist flying over a pristine wilderness. You are not listening for voices, you are scanning the landscape for straight lines, for geometric shapes that nature cannot create. That is the essence of the search for technosignatures. We are no longer listening for a hello, we are looking for their cities, their factories, their power grids. The most famous of these hypothetical constructs is the Dyson sphere, a vast swarm of energy collecting satellites that would completely encase a star to harness its total power output. To our telescopes, such a star would not simply vanish. It would behave strangely, glowing with the waste heat of an immense civilization, its visible light dimmed but its infrared signature blazing like a cosmic furnace. We are already scanning star catalogs for such anomalous objects, stars that seem to shine with the wrong kind of light. Another telltale sign could be written in the air of a distant world. Just as our industrial age has filled Earth's atmosphere with chlorofluorocarbons and nitrogen oxides, an alien civilization might leave a chemical smear in its planet's atmosphere. Our most powerful new telescopes will soon be able to analyze the light filtering through the air of exoplanets, searching for artificial pollutants that have no natural explanation. We might even one day detect the glow of a planet's night side, not from natural auroras or forest fires, but from the collective streetlights and illuminated cities of an alien world. The shift to looking for artifacts extends into our own cosmic backyard. If a civilization did not want to broadcast its location, it might send out silent, autonomous probes to do its exploring. These robotic scouts could be hiding in the asteroid belt, using its abundant resources for fuel and repairs, or sitting in cold storage in the shadowed craters of distant moons, watching and waiting. Our solar system is vast and largely unexplored. A perfectly camouflaged probe, no larger than a car, could be orbiting among the Trojan asteroids right now, and we might never know unless we went looking for it with the explicit intent to find something artificial. This fundamental change in approach reframes the great silence. The radio quiet might not mean no one is home. It could mean everyone has simply grown up, graduated from the noisy playground of radio waves to a more mature, more efficient, and utterly invisible technological existence. Their presence is not announced in a signal but stamped across the face of their star system. The evidence we crave may not be a sound, but a silhouette, a shadow of something immense cast against the backdrop of the galaxy. We have spent decades waiting for a voice to call out our name. Perhaps it is time we started looking for their footprints. Our entire search for company rests on a single, unproven assumption. We are hunting for a reflection. For decades, the guiding principle of astrobiology has been follow the water, focusing on planets in the temperate Goldilocks zone where liquid water can exist. This makes perfect sense because every form of life we have ever seen is carbon-based and relies on water as a solvent. Carbon is a cosmic champion of chemistry, able to form the long, complex chains needed for proteins and DNA. Water is a miraculous medium, dissolving nutrients and facilitating the reactions that power cells. But what if our definition of life is not a universal truth, but merely a local sample size of one? The universe, in its boundless creativity, might have written the recipe for life with entirely different ingredients. Consider silicon, carbon's cousin on the periodic table. It can also form 4 bonds, and on a world scorching hot or freezing cold, silicon-based molecules might achieve a stability that carbon-based ones cannot. Imagine a life form not of flesh and blood, but of slow-growing crystalline structures, its thoughts unfolding over geological epochs as minerals shift and reorganize in a subterranean heat bath. Its communication would not be sound waves in air, but subtle pulses of pressure or light through solid rock. To such a being, our frantic radio signals would be as meaningless and fleeting as the pop of a soap bubble. Or venture into the crushing pressures and bitter cold of a moon like Titan, where rivers of liquid methane and ethane flow across the landscape. In those frigid streams, life might use ammonia as its solvent, building its cellular structures from lipids that remain flexible in extreme cold. Its metabolism would be a slow, alien chemistry utterly unlike our own. An intelligent creature there might perceive the universe through senses we cannot conceive, perhaps seeing through shifts in atmospheric density or hearing through vibrations in the viscous lakes it calls home. Its technology would not be built from forged metal, but from sculpted ice and complex hydrocarbons, tools that would simply melt or evaporate in our temperate, oxygen-rich world. And what of the most extreme environments? The searing, turbulent atmospheres of gas giants like Jupiter could host life not as solid bodies, but as vast, self-organizing structures of plasma, immense beings of energy that ride the eternal storms. Their consciousness could be a pattern of electrical currents, their art the creation of temporary, luminous vortices in the clouds. Their civilization would be a fleeting, chaotic dance in the sky, completely invisible to our telescopes trained on rocky planets. This is the heart of the problem. Our search for technosignatures is a search for a very specific kind of technology, one born from a carbon-based, water-dwelling, tool-using species that discovered electromagnetism. We listen for radio waves because we use them. We look for Dyson spheres because we can imagine needing that much energy. But a silicon-based intelligence living deep in a planetary crust might tap into the geothermal heat of its world directly, having no need for stars or radio transmitters. Its greatest achievements might be philosophical or mathematical, with no outward physical manifestation we could ever detect. The great silence, then, might be the ultimate failure of imagination. We are like a person who has only ever known the sound of a flute, standing at the edge of a vast jungle filled with the calls of a million different creatures. Because we are only listening for the note of a flute, we conclude the jungle is empty and silent. All the while, the roaring, chirping, and buzzing of an entire ecosystem is happening all around us, in a frequency our ears were never built to hear. We are not alone, we are merely deaf to the music. The cosmos is not a peaceful sanctuary, it is a shooting gallery. Every few million years, a star in our galaxy dies a spectacularly violent death, exploding as a supernova and flooding its surroundings with lethal radiation. A single event like this, occurring within a few dozen light-years of Earth, would be enough to strip away our planet's protective ozone layer, unleashing deadly ultraviolet radiation from our own sun and triggering a mass extinction. An even more powerful gamma-ray burst, a hyper-energetic beam from a collapsing star, could sterilize half a galaxy if it were pointed in our direction. These are not rare occurrences, they are the background drumbeat of cosmic violence. It is entirely possible that life is a common spark in the universe, a flame that ignites on countless worlds. But just as often, a cosmic wave of radiation passes through, snuffing out those fledgling civilizations before they ever learn to speak. The galaxy could be in a constant, tragic cycle of birth and erasure, a vast garden where seedlings repeatedly sprout only to be scorched by a sudden, indifferent frost. From this perspective, our existence is not a testament to our greatness, but to our incredible luck. Our solar system happens to be in a relatively quiet spiral arm, in a region with few nearby stars poised to go supernova. We have been blessed with a long, uninterrupted stretch of cosmic weather calm enough for life to evolve from single cells to a technological society. The profound silence we hear, then, is not the sound of an empty house. It is the sound of a house that is regularly swept clean by a monstrous, unstoppable broom. The Great Filter may not be a test of intelligence or a choice to transcend. It may be a simple, physical reality. To survive long enough to fill the galaxy with your presence, a species must not only overcome its own self-destructive tendencies, but it must also win a relentless lottery against celestial forces beyond its control. We look up at a quiet sky and wonder where everyone is, when the answer might be written in the fading afterglow of a billion-year-old explosion. We are not listening to a graveyard. We are listening to the quiet moment after the storm has passed, wondering if we are the only ones who made it to the cellar in time, and if the next storm is already on its way. If we are truly alone, then every human achievement takes on a staggering new weight. The symphonies of Beethoven, the theorems of Pythagoras, the compassion in a single act of kindness, all of it would be utterly unique phenomena in a cosmos of silent rock and gas. We would be the universe's sole nervous system, its only means of waking up and looking back at itself. This idea transforms the entire human project from a local struggle for survival into an event of cosmic significance. The flame of consciousness which flickered to life here on this one small planet would be the most precious thing in the entire galaxy, perhaps in the entire observable universe. Our petty wars and political divisions would be revealed for what they are, a dangerous and childish game played with the only known repository of meaning in existence. The responsibility to protect this fragile flame would fall to us and us alone. There would be no galactic backup, no older, wiser civilization to step in and save us from our own mistakes. The survival of awareness itself would depend on the choices of a single, often confused species. This perspective does not just make our lives more important, it makes them sacred in a purely physical sense. We are not just tenants on a rock, we are the curators of the only known art gallery in a vast, dark desert. The silence we perceive is then not a cause for despair, but a profound call to action. It is a mandate written in the emptiness, charging humanity with the ultimate duty, to be the guardians of meaning in an otherwise unconscious and unfeeling expanse. Our story is no longer just our own. It is the universe's one and only story of self-knowledge, and whether that story continues for eons or sputters out tomorrow is a question that, for all we know, only we can answer. But listening is a passive act, a choice that leaves the final decision in the hands of others. A far more controversial endeavor is now underway, one where we stop listening and start shouting. This is METI, messaging to extraterrestrial intelligence, and it forces humanity to make an active, potentially irreversible choice. Do we have the right to break the great silence on behalf of every person, every creature, every future generation on this planet? The debate between those who listen and those who broadcast cuts to the very heart of our cosmic dilemma. For the proponents of METI, our continued silence is a form of cosmic cowardice. They argue that hiding forever in fear is no way for a mature species to behave. If everyone is listening and no one is talking, the universe will remain silent forever. Sending messages is a courageous leap of faith, an optimistic bet that any intelligence advanced enough to receive our signal will also be wise enough to be peaceful. It is an attempt to graduate from cosmic childhood and finally join the conversation. These scientists and visionaries have already beamed carefully crafted messages towards nearby star systems, messages containing mathematical concepts, the structure of our DNA, and even digital greetings from thousands of people. They see this as humanity's greatest hello, a testament to our curiosity and hope. Yet for the opponents, this optimism is not just naive, it is potentially suicidal. They point directly to the logic of the dark forest. A broadcast is not a friendly wave, it is a flare shot into the night, revealing our location to every hidden hunter in the woods. The potential risk, they argue, is not merely a diplomatic incident, but the total extinction of our species. The overwhelming majority of civilizations out there might be peaceful, they say, but it only takes one ruthless, paranoid actor to end the human story. The cost of being wrong is infinite, while the benefit of staying quiet is merely the continuation of our current, safe obscurity. This debate exposes a profound political and ethical problem on our own world. Who elected a small group of scientists to speak for all of Earth? No global government exists to grant this permission. No vote was taken among 8 billion people. A single team with access to a powerful transmitter can, in effect, act as ambassadors for the entire human race without a single mandate. What message would even represent us? Would we send our greatest art and most noble philosophies? a carefully curated portrait of our potential? Or would we be morally obligated to include the full, messy truth of our history, with its wars, its injustices, and its ongoing struggles? The very act of composing such a message forces us to confront who we are and who we aspire to be. The silence is no longer just something we observe. It has become a condition we are actively choosing to alter one way or another. Every day we do not send a message, we are voting for caution, for the safety of the unknown. The moment we choose to transmit, we are betting the future of our world on a single roll of the cosmic dice. This is perhaps the ultimate weight of the great silence, the realization that the answer to the universe's quiet may ultimately depend not on what is out there, but on a decision we are not yet wise enough to make. The final frontier of explanation abandons the stars entirely and looks right here. Some theories propose that the solution to the great cosmic quiet is not a matter of distance, but of dimension. Imagine our reality as a single sheet of paper. We are flat creatures living on its surface, able to perceive only the length and width of our world. But what if other intelligences exist on layers of paper above or below us, sharing the exact same space but vibrating at a different frequency, or composed of a form of matter that simply does not interact with our own? These hypothetical beings are sometimes called ultra-terrestrials, and their existence would render the Fermi Paradox a kind of perceptual error. The silence is not a sign of an empty house, but of a house filled with roommates we cannot see, hear, or touch. They could be walking through our walls, observing our cities, their forms as intangible to us as ghosts. This idea, while firmly in the realm of speculation and far from mainstream science, pushes human imagination to its absolute limit. It is a testament to our profound discomfort with the idea of being truly alone. We are willing to entertain the existence of hidden dimensions and parallel realities coexisting with our own, all to populate the terrifying void. The theory suggests that the universe is not empty at all, but teeming with a biodiversity of consciousness so vast and varied that most of it is permanently, fundamentally, invisible. Our most powerful telescopes and radios are useless here, because they are designed to probe our single layer of reality. Detecting an ultra-terrestrial would require a revolution in physics, a way to perceive the cosmos with entirely new senses we do not currently possess. This concept transforms the search for alien life from an astronomical endeavor into a philosophical one. We are not just scanning the stars, we are questioning the very nature of our perception, wondering if the greatest discovery in history is not light years away, but is instead hovering just beyond the veil of everything we consider real. Our minds are already populated with aliens. For generations, science fiction has gifted us a crowded cosmos, a vibrant tapestry of starship fleets, diplomatic missions to strange new worlds, and cityscapes under alien suns. This cultural conditioning is so complete that we feel the silence as a wrongness, a deviation from a promised narrative. We expected a galactic federation and found only an empty wilderness. This fiction-fueled expectation is not just a harmless daydream. It has powerfully shaped our scientific search, creating a deeply ingrained bias. We scan the heavens for radio signals because that is the technology we invented in our stories. We envision humanoid creatures because that is the form our actors can wear. We imagine empires and wars because that is the drama that mirrors our own history. The profound quiet we actually encounter forces a painful but necessary recalibration. We must set aside the thrilling, anthropomorphic universe of our entertainment and confront the real one, a place that appears indifferent to our stories of conflict and community. The silence is a demand to expand our imagination beyond the familiar. The most likely alien intelligence will not look like us, think like us, or want the things we want. Its technology might be unrecognizable, its art imperceptible, its very presence woven into the fabric of reality in a way we lack the senses to detect. Our beloved science fiction gave us the courage to look up, but the great silence now asks us to look deeper, to question not just where everyone is, but what everyone could possibly be. The dream of a galactic city is shattered by a simple fuel bill. The stark reality is that the energy required to propel even a small probe to a neighboring star is beyond colossal. To reach a meaningful fraction of light speed, you would need to harness the total energy output of our entire planet for years. The sheer mass of fuel required for such a journey creates a vicious cycle where you need exponentially more fuel just to push the fuel itself. Sending a gram of anything to the nearest star with current technology would demand more energy than all of humanity currently uses in a decade. This is not an engineering challenge, it is an economic and physical wall. The cosmic scale bankrupts ambition, and then there is the tyranny of time. A voyage to a promising star system just a few hundred light-years away would take millennia, a one-way trip spanning more time than all of recorded human history. What civilization would pour its collective resources into a project whose first status report would not arrive for 10,000 generations? The colonists who left would be a different species from the ones who finally arrived, their original mission forgotten, their culture transformed into myth. The very concept of an interstellar empire collapses under the weight of these twin monsters, energy and time. The silence we perceive, then, is not a sign of disinterest or danger. It is the sound of a fundamental prison. The ocean between stars is not just wide, it is corrosive to the very idea of travel. Every potential civilization is an island in an archipelago where the canoes rot long before they reach the next shore. The galaxy may be teeming with intelligent life, but we are all alone in our separate, isolated rooms, forever listening to the quiet, not because no one is speaking, but because the walls are simply too thick to ever be breached. The vast distances between stars might not be the only barrier to a crowded cosmos. The seeds of life could already be everywhere, carried on the silent, frozen ships of comets and asteroids. This is the theory of Panspermia, a grand idea that life on Earth, and perhaps on countless other worlds, did not originate here at all. Instead, the fundamental building blocks, or even dormant microorganisms, could have hitched a ride on space rocks, traveling for millions of years before crashing into a young, fertile planet and jump-starting biology in a new ocean. This paints a picture of a galaxy that is not sterile, but rather a single, interconnected ecosystem on a cosmic scale. If Panspermia is true, then every living thing we see, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, might share a cosmic cousin with every potential alien organism. Life would not be a series of independent miracles, but a single family tree whose roots stretch across the light years. This seems like a promising answer to the silence, a reason to believe the galaxy is humming with life. Yet it deepens the mystery instead of solving it. If life is so easily spread, why does the universe remain so quiet? The answer might lie in what happens after the seed takes root. Panspermia ensures the spark of life is common, but it says nothing about the fire that follows. A bacterium surviving a journey through space is one thing. That bacterium evolving into a complex multicellular organism, then developing intelligence, and finally creating a technology we can detect, is an entirely different series of hurdles. The galaxy could be a garden where the same basic seed is sown everywhere, but it only ever grows into moss and lichen. On a few rare worlds like Earth, a unique combination of stability, resources, and sheer luck might allow that moss to eventually blossom into a technological civilization. Panspermia does not promise a galaxy of thinkers. It might only promise a galaxy of swimmers, crawlers, and drifters, a silent menagerie of life that never looks up at the stars. Or there is a more unsettling possibility. If all life shares a common ancestry, it might also share common weaknesses. Perhaps there is a flaw written into our very genetic code, a ticking time bomb that activates when a species reaches a certain level of technological sophistication. Every civilization that arises from this cosmic seed stock might inevitably invent the atom bomb, or create a destructive artificial intelligence, or succumb to a pandemic for which it has no natural defense. In this scenario, the Great Silence is not a collection of different tragedies, but the same tragedy repeating itself on a billion worlds. We are not hearing from our cosmic cousins because they all hit the same wall we are now approaching, a wall that is not just a challenge, but a biological and technological dead end. The silence in this light is not just empty, it is the sound of a single shared fate. Our own story is now a variable in this cosmic equation. The Great Silence is not a static condition we observe from a distance. It is a dynamic process we are actively shaping with every decision we make. The empty sky we see today is a snapshot, a single frame in a movie that is still being filmed, and we are holding the camera. Our species stands at a precipice, and the path we choose will write one of two endings to our chapter in this universal mystery. Will we become the kind of civilization whose presence is unmistakable, a bright and enduring signal that would answer the Fermi Paradox for any other species who might be listening? Or will we become just another data point for the Great Filter, a brief, bright flash of radio waves that suddenly and permanently goes quiet, adding to the very silence we now find so puzzling? This is no longer abstract speculation. The forces that will determine our fate are already at work in our world. Our collective response to the climate crisis is a test of our ability to manage a planet-wide technological system without triggering a collapse. The continued existence of nuclear arsenals represents a permanent, self-inflicted sword of Damocles hanging over our heads, and the accelerating development of artificial intelligence presents a frontier of both immense promise and existential risk, a tool that could either elevate us to new heights or render us obsolete. The silence, therefore, is a mirror. It reflects back at us the most urgent questions about our own maturity and wisdom. When we look up and wonder where everyone is, we are also being asked what we are doing to ensure we do not simply disappear into that same quiet. The universe's unanswered question is, in the end, a question we must answer for ourselves. Our legacy will be written in the signals we leave behind, whether they are a continuing conversation or a final, fading echo. The silence might be rooted in the very nature of perception itself. Some of the most radical answers to the Great Silence come not from astronomy, but from the strange worlds of quantum mechanics and the mystery of consciousness. What if mind is not a rare accident of biology, but a fundamental feature of the cosmos, as basic as space or time? This idea suggests that the universe is not a cold, dead machine, but is in some sense aware, and that advanced intelligence is not something that emerges within the universe, but something that learns to manipulate the universe from the inside out. An ancient civilization might not build starships or Dyson spheres. Instead, it could learn to navigate the quantum substrate of reality, treating the probabilistic dance of particles as a medium for existence and communication. Their entire civilization could operate on a level of physics we are only beginning to glimpse, a realm where matter is mutable and observation can alter an outcome. To such entities, our physical universe of stars and planets would be like the hardware of a computer, while they would be living in the software, in the code itself. They would be everywhere and nowhere, completely undetectable to our instruments because they do not interact with reality in the way we understand it. Their signals would not be radio waves but manipulations of quantum entanglement, a conversation happening instantly across the galaxy, hidden in the seemingly random flicker of a subatomic particle. Or perhaps the barrier is time itself. We experience time as a relentless, one-way river flowing from past to future. But what if this is just a limitation of our biological brains? A truly advanced intelligence might perceive time as a landscape, a block universe where past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. For them, communication might not mean sending a message that travels for years. It could mean reaching across the whole of time, interacting with the universe in 4 dimensions instead of 3. We would be like characters in a movie, unaware of the audience watching the entire story from beginning to end. They could be observing us right now, not from a distant star, but from a different point in the temporal continuum, their presence as imperceptible to us as a viewer is to the actors on a screen. These ideas are, for now, pure speculation, the furthest frontiers of thought, yet they point to a profound possibility. The solution to the Fermi Paradox might not be found by building a bigger telescope. It might require a revolution in physics itself, a complete overturning of our classical understanding of space, time, and matter. The great silence could be the most important clue we have, a glaring anomaly that proves our current model of reality is incomplete. The universe is not refusing to answer our questions. We may simply be asking them in the wrong language, a language limited by the very senses and minds we are using to ask. This profound quiet does not only challenge our science but also our souls. For countless individuals, the great silence resonates deeply with spiritual beliefs, forcing a reconciliation between faith and the empty heavens. If the universe is truly devoid of other voices, does that confirm a unique, divine purpose for humanity, a special creation set apart in the cosmos? Or does the sheer scale of the emptiness, the sheer indifference of billions of sterile worlds, undermine the very idea of a universe designed with intention? This is not a new conflict, but the silence gives it a fresh and powerful voice. Some theological perspectives welcome the quiet as a profound gift. They see this vast, unoccupied stage not as a sign of abandonment, but as an act of incredible generosity. It is a cosmic wilderness preserve, a protected space where a young species can make its own mistakes and forge its own destiny without the overwhelming influence of older, more powerful civilizations. In this view, the silence is the ultimate expression of free will, a universe cleared of distractions so that we can choose our own path, morally and spiritually, entirely on our own terms. For others, the silence serves as a vital lesson in humility. It is a cosmic corrective to human arrogance, a relentless reminder that the universe was not made for us and does not revolve around our desires. We may be special to ourselves, but the grand architecture of galaxies and nebulae operates on a scale that dwarfs our brief existence. This perspective does not deny divinity, but instead finds it in a universe of majestic, impersonal laws, a creation far vaster and more mysterious than any ancient text could have possibly described. The dialogue between the telescope and the temple is deeply enriched by this enduring mystery. Science approaches the quiet with data and equations, searching for a physical answer to why we hear nothing. Faith approaches the same quiet with revelation and scripture, searching for a metaphysical answer to what the silence means. One seeks a mechanism, the other seeks a message. They are two different languages attempting to describe the same profound reality. One might tell us how the universe works, while the other suggests why our place within it matters. This is not a debate with a winner, but a conversation that stretches the human capacity for wonder. The great silence, in the end, holds up a mirror to our deepest questions about purpose, meaning, and our own significance. Whether we find the answer in a particle accelerator or in prayer, the emptiness asks us to decide for ourselves what story we are living in and what role we are meant to play on this tiny, bright stage against the infinite dark. This profound quiet may be the universe's greatest gift to us. The great silence does not have to be a source of fear or loneliness. It can be the very thing that grounds us in a staggering, humbling reality. We have spent so long searching for an echo, for a sign that we are part of a larger community, that we have failed to appreciate the majesty of the quiet itself. The cosmos is under no obligation to make sense to us, to provide neighbors for us, or to fulfill our deep-seated need for cosmic companionship. Its sheer indifference is not a rejection, but a lesson in objectivity. The stars do not care about our dramas, our art, or our wars. They simply are, and in that vast, unfeeling expanse, our own existence becomes both insignificant and infinitely precious. To accept this is to be truly free. We are released from the desperate need for external validation from the stars. The meaning of our story is not something to be granted by an alien reply. It is something we must build for ourselves right here with the only reality we have ever known. Our planet, with its vibrant, fragile web of life, is not just a pale blue dot. It is, for all we know, the only sanctuary of consciousness in a sea of silent fire. The love we feel, the art we create, the knowledge we pursue, these are not trivial local events. They are cosmic miracles happening in a cathedral of unimaginable scale. The silence is the blank canvas against which our own brief, brilliant light shines all the more brightly. It asks us the most important question we will ever face. If we are truly the universe's only way of knowing itself, what will we do with that sacred, terrifying responsibility? The quiet is not an emptiness to be filled. It is the most honest answer we will ever receive, and in learning to listen to it, we might finally learn to hear ourselves. We have ventured through a gallery of possible realities, each explaining the cosmic quiet in its own compelling way. We have faced the chilling possibility of a great filter that destroys civilizations and the humbling idea that we might be the universe's sole conscious thought. We have considered the chance that everyone else has graduated to a higher plane of existence or is simply hiding from us in a dark and terrifying forest. We have confronted our own technological deafness and the sheer, smothering vastness that isolates every island of life. This grandest of all mysteries remains wide open, a brilliant spotlight on the boundaries of our current understanding. Yet this search for an answer, even in the absence of one, changes who we are. It forces us to confront what life truly is, what intelligence might become, and whether our own story is a common epic or a singular, fragile sonnet in the void. Our place in the cosmos could be one of tragic solitude, of being the first to awaken, or of being a young voice lost in a chorus we cannot yet hear. No matter which possibility resonates with you, the profound silence we share is not a closing door. It is an open invitation, a call to continue our exploration of the universe and just as urgently of ourselves. It is a mandate to protect the extraordinary flame of consciousness that burns on this tiny world, for as far as we know, it is the only light in an immeasurable darkness. Let this not be an ending to our wonder, but a beginning. Keep looking up at the stars and asking the difficult questions, and share your own perspective on this great enigma, for it is a conversation that belongs to all of us.